Hello and welcome to the Spack-O-Mat sine wave tutorial. The sine wave is included in the most recent update to official support 64-bit Resolution 6, but all of the plugins provided are also compiled for 32-bit. We are now examining the SineWave 1D from Spack-O-Mat plugin collection, and this is the default setup for the plugin, and the main parameter is the speed, which controls the time moving of the sine wave. Similar to that, we have the frequency, which defines one sine wave. And as you can see here, we have one sine wave defined by a frequency, a wavelength and an amplitude. And the Spack-O-Mat 3 arity provides you with three different sine waves mapped on each other. And 3 is enough to create visual pleasing effects. And I'm now going to reset all of the sines now to 0. Demonstrating what effect the parameters have. When we have wavelength 0 and amplitude 0, we have this nice polished flag, and by increasing the frequency, we see and increasing the amplitude, we see the up and down movement of a sine wave, which has a wavelength of 0. Providing us with this bouncing up line. When we now increase the wavelength of this particular sine wave, as you can see here, we have mapped all of the parameters to exponential scaling. Compared to the previous version of the plugin, this leads to a more smooth and finer control of the wavelength, providing you with the possibility to easily map an external sound source to the wavelength of that particular sine wave. So we have the sine wave 1 with the frequency increasing and decreasing, is moving to the right and increasing to the left. The wavelength defines the frequency or the spatial outlook of the sine wave, and the amplitude the height. When we now add a second sine wave, we see these patterns appear. And this second sine wave is controlled exactly like the one before, but the relative movement of each other provides these effects, and you can control the general movement of the sine wave with the upper animatable part and the frequencies of each individual sine wave. When we set the frequencies to 0.5, nothing moves, but we can use the top animation. And as you can see here, you have to carefully inspect the real values that Resolution puts in there. And the third wavelength, when increasing the amplitude for that, gives us this outcome, and that's basically it for the sine wave tutorial. But I forgot the two colors you can choose here in the lower part are the inner and outer sine wave areas. So you just have control over the upper and the lower part of the sine wave, but we make it red because we love sine waves. See you next time and enjoy!